With the barriers to streaming almost non-existent in today's age, a rather humorous genre of blunder has emerged that I've taken a particular interest in documenting: the accidental live stream. From internationally famous celebrities accidentally streaming themselves laying pipe, to mistakenly broadcasting the birth of your child to Facebook, and of course unintentionally distributing a live stroke session to YouTube. These are the internet's most infamous accidental live streams. The Instagram Live cheek clapping incident. On September 11th, 2024, users of Instagram would be left grieving. Not because of anything terrorism related, rather it was due to a freak tragedy of the modern age. A sports media superstar, athlete, and internationally beloved Unk accidentally went live while getting busy in the bedroom. And the aftermath of its leakage threatened to ruin the celebrity's career. But how exactly does one accidentally livestream themselves clapping some cheeks? Well, let's probe deep and get to the bottom of this story.
I eat everything on the pig except the squeal.
Huh.
Oink.
This is Shannon Sharp, aliases Shay Shay, the Shapeshifter, and of course, Unk. He's an NFL Hall of Famer, considered one of the greatest tight ends to ever play the game, with over 10,000 receiving yards during his career. Retiring in 2003, Unk took the route of sports analyst and media personality. He found immense success in this lane. I guess you could say Shannon is something of a natural behind the camera.
Is that what we doing, Skip? So why, hold on, Skip, always look at me when I'm talking to you.
His booming voice, enthusiasm, and animated persona have helped this Unk become one of the most beloved sports commentators in American history, and he's an invaluable asset to sports networks like ESPN. And with that stated, I must highlight that Shannon is popular with more than just SportsCenter boomers. He has found success with younger fans as well through independent ventures like his Club Shay Shay podcast, which has produced many interesting moments. Needless to say, Shannon Sharp is a massive, almost universally beloved and wholesome figure in the world of sports entertainment. But on 9/11, everything was about to change. With over 3.3 million followers, Instagram is by far Shannon's largest social media platform, mostly used by the man to promote his podcast and post life updates. Shannon rarely goes live, so when viewers got that 9/11 notification that Unk was streaming, thousands of them tapped in. Upon tuning in, live stream attendees unwittingly found themselves in the cuck chair, a front row seat to an apparent cheek-busting session broadcasted by the shapeshifter himself. While thankfully no body parts or people are shown in the recording, some rather intriguing audio is heard. This audio with the man grunting and groaning, and a female can be heard making some interesting vocalizations of their own. If I was to take a wild guess, I would assume that they're assembling some IKEA furniture or something like that. People were in complete shock at what they were witnessing here. Fans of the Unk were in disbelief, begging Shannon to cut the stream, while others speculated that he must have been hacked. Some offered critiques of the performance itself. Quote, "Somebody hacked Unk. He must have been hacked, lol. Nah, hell nah. N-word growling," unquote. After it was all said and done, this freaky-ass live stream was viewed by close to 6.4 million people, the celebrity's boink session lasting about 2 minutes. So, at least he's relatable in that way. Now, it's pretty clear what had happened here. Shannon, in all of his boomer wisdom, had somehow accidentally hit live while performing an intimate bedroom tune-up. Realizing he had just made a potentially career-ruining fumble, the former tight end screened his options and took a route of ignorance initially. Shortly after the Unk's bricked-up broadcast, an Instagram story was published to his account, warning fans, suggesting the entire broadcast itself was some sort of hoax orchestrated by a malicious hacker. Beware, my @ShannonSharp84 Instagram was hacked this morning. My team and I are working vigorously to figure this out. Vigorously? That's really the adverb you decided to go with here? Jesus Christ, there's no help with this guy. We're vigorously trying to solve the problem. Now, as you might expect, given this, Fans were calling pass interference on Shannon's efforts to throw blame at a hacker. It was very obviously him grunting and carrying on in that live stream. With mounting pressure from fans, mainstream, and social media, Shannon seemed to come to the conclusion that if he was to maintain his audience's affection, he'd need to deliver the truth raw and fast, and vigorously, you might even say. Unk's brand is very much about keeping it real, so in a bold move, lubricated only by a desire to maintain integrity, the Unk went balls deep into the controversy on his very own podcast. Later, on the evening of 9/11, Shannon Sharpe went live on his Nightcap podcast, which is a show co-hosted by NFL wide receiver legend and longtime friend of the Unk, Chad Ochocinco. It was an effort to get ahead of the story. Shannon would speak candidly, detailing his shame and embarrassment regarding what had happened, making clear that it wasn't a staged publicity stunt or hack, but was indeed a case of a boomer accidentally going live.
But guys, this was not staged. Came in, I threw my phone on the bed, gazed at an activity. I did not know IG Live. I've never been on IG Live. I've never turned IG Live on, so I don't know how it works.
Shannon explains that during the time that he was unknowingly streaming, he actually started getting calls to his second phone that he had, people trying to tell him what was going on. And that's how he figured out what was happening.
All of a sudden, my other phone is going off and people are calling me FaceTime that I've never talked to a day in my life on FaceTime. And I'm like, why are y'all calling me FaceTime? And after a while, Jamie Fritz, who's been my longtime marketing guy, he finally got through to me and he said, Shannon, you're on IG Live. I'm like, doing what? And now I'm starting to get agitated again because you called me and say I'm on IG Live when I know I didn't click myself on IG Live. And he said they can hear me. I said, hear me doing what? He said, it sounds like you were having sex. Man, my heart sank.
The explanation of what had happened is initially weaved with threads of regret, humility, and condolences, though Shannon couldn't help but acknowledge the humor of the situation as he peppered in some of his signature Unk charm during this bang session apology.
I mean, y'all thought I was bull jiving. Hey, Unk get it in. Real talk. Hey, Ocho, see, I know, man, Unk be lying, Unk lying. Unk ain't lying.
Come on, man.
He sparks hard, Ocho. I hit one early this morning.
The virile Unk used the opportunity to also take a jab at detractors who were apparently making claims around this time that he was gay or sexually impotent because of his age. Well, we know that's not true. To conclude this analysis of the Nightcap apology stream, I'd like to play a clip of Shannon expressing a final sentiment of remorse, wherein I think he rather poignantly explains why, despite the humorous absurdity of the matter, this was an unacceptable failure of his responsibilities as a widely beloved and looked up to media personality. Take a look.
You cried?
Yeah, because I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for my circle. I'm embarrassed for the people there. There are people, not everybody, but there are people out there that hold me in high regard and look to me as a beacon, as a role model.
Right.
And I let those people down.
All things considered, the Nightcap podcast episode discussing the accidental live stream was well received by Shannon's fans. It was honest, raw talk, and Unk was able to tackle the difficult subject in a way that was true to his personal brand.
I mean, y'all thought I was bull jiving. Hey, Unk get it in. Real talk.
The only real repercussions at the time were internet memes and online jokes, many of which actually indirectly praised the 57-year-old man for still being a bedroom athlete. Looking at this situation with everything now considered, you might be tempted to call it one of the most brilliant PR crisis navigation victories in the history of show business. And if only isolating this particular segment of the controversy, I'd probably agree with you. But the story of Shannon Sharpe and his sexual misadventures isn't quite over yet, as things would take a more disturbing turn the following year. Some serious accusations were coming down the pipeline. Just as the public was beginning to forget his accidental live stream, Shannon Sharpe found himself back in the news again for bedroom-related offenses. And sadly, there's little humorous silver lining to the sheets enveloping this allegation. Allow me to introduce you to, at the time, 21-year-old Gabriella Zungia. This OnlyFans content creator shocked the public after issuing a civil lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe in April of 2025. And for what, you might ask? Well, the woman was seeking over $50 million in damages, claiming that Shannon had assaulted and sexually assaulted her. Additionally, alleging the unk had engaged in sexual battery and intentionally inflicted emotional distress against her. The complaint alleges that Shannon also recorded their sexual encounters and shared them with friends without the woman's permission. Though it is important to note that the complaint clarifies that Gabriella was not the same woman with Sharpe in the accidental livestream leak. Now, I'm no legal expert or anything, and everything that is alleged, but my thinking here is that the individual may have been afraid to come forward with their allegations initially because of Shannon's rather flawless reputation. And while the livestream leak doesn't necessarily show any form of abuse, it showed the world that Shannon was very much sexually active, and it definitely hinted that there was more to the wholesome unk personality broadcasted on TV and social media. Perhaps after the accidental stream situation, this person felt their story would be taken more seriously, and that's why they came forward. When these sexual assault and misconduct allegations hit the newswire, Shannon was quick to respond to the controversy just like he did previously. Though there was nothing jovial about this address. Shannon, mustering every ounce of professionalism that he was capable of, communicated to his audience, claiming the allegations were untrue. And he even goes as far as to call the civil suit levied against him a shakedown attempt from a predatory lawyer that targeted rich black celebrities.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine.
In addition to this response, Shannon's lawyers produced a series of text messages between the OnlyFans accuser and the unk, seemingly showing Gabriella being sexually promiscuous, at one point allegedly asking to have a dog collar on while being choked. In response to this statement, Gabriella's lawyers released leaked conversations between her and Shannon, one of which includes audio of Shannon allegedly threatening to choke the dog collar enthusiast.
Anything I say, you're just gonna like get mad at and you're just gonna hang up on me, so I feel like...
I'm not gonna hang up on you. Here's what it is.
What does that even mean?
Nothing, Gabby. You wanna be a dick to me now, so...
I don't wanna be... Don't manipulate me.
Oh, Lord have mercy. If you say that one more time, I'm gonna choke the out of you when I see you. Thank you.
Well, I don't wanna be choked.
Yes, you do. I don't think you have a choice in the matter.
Shannon's legal team responded to this recording, claiming the clip was taken out of context and was part of a role-playing dynamic. Whatever the case, the allegations surrounding this matter had proven to be far more consequential than the accidental live stream that predicated all of this. Because of the controversy surrounding him, Shannon took a sabbatical from his broadcasting role at ESPN. While he wasn't fired, it remains uncertain if he will return. Shannon is very much a face of the network when it comes to ESPN's NFL stuff. He gets a lot of exposure for being on their shows. I couldn't imagine he would have taken a leave if it was not for this situation. In addition to the uncertain circumstances with ESPN, it was also revealed that Shannon once offered $10 million to settle the lawsuit filed by Gabriella, indicating the filing may have had more bite to it than many initially suspected. I would have had to have ended this story on a cliffhanger if it wasn't for a massive development during the scripting process of this video. A settlement has occurred, a seemingly big one too. On July 18th, Gabriella's lawyer, Tony Busby, announced the $50 million lawsuit had ended in settlement. with parties reaching a mutually agreed resolution and the matter being dismissed with prejudice. This settlement also clarifies some details about their relationship, if it were, stating that it was admitted by both parties to be, quote, a long-term consensual and tumultuous relationship, unquote. Anyway, shortly after this settlement revelation, Gabriella announced that she was retiring from OnlyFans, saying this on social media. While the amount awarded to her isn't public information, the implication is that she got a fuckload of money from this. While Shannon Sharpe is by no means going to be bankrupted by this lawsuit, it is a huge hit not only financially but reputationally as well. A lot of people have been criticizing him lately, saying that it's kind of pathetic that he's in his 50s or 60s and doesn't really have a wife or family to take care of him, or at least support him. He's still in the trenches as a grown-ass man chasing these ratchet OnlyFans bitches. He'll likely bounce back, but the unk has certainly taken a little bit of damage here. As a final update to this story, we just got word that ESPN is officially cutting ties with Shannon Sharpe. This really is an example of an accidental live stream ruining someone's life. Accidentally going live is a complete disaster if you value your personal privacy, but thankfully it's unlikely to occur because, well, you guys are just smarter than that. But even the more careful of you out there already likely have had your personal information taken from you in other ways. I mean, just go ahead and Google yourself. Right now, your full name, email, phone number, home address, and date of birth are likely floating around on the internet, exposing you in a way more insidiously than an accidental live-streamed moment would. You have opportunistic data brokers to thank for your information being out there, and today's sponsor Incogni can help identify your personal data and get it removed from the web for good. Incogni does the hard work for you, tracking down the data brokers who have your info online and submitting information removal requests on your behalf. If you tried to do this yourself, it would take hours of your time and wouldn't be worth it by any stretch. But Incogni makes it possible. When signing up for Incogni, I was shocked to find just how many brokers had been peddling my data. Incogni identified 245 instances of my personally identifying information on the web, and they sent requests to take down each occurrence. Within a few days, they got my data off the internet for good, and many of the data brokers were compelled to add me to a suppression list, meaning they won't be able to get my data in the future. Guys, I'm telling you, you'll be shocked when you run your first scan and see just how much of your information is out there. Take back your personal data with Incogni. Use code WavyWebSurf at the link below to get 60% off an annual plan. That's at incogni.com/WavyWebSurf. Now, some more accidental live stream fails. YouTube streamer accidentally live streams a gooning session. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to failed gaming YouTuber Darkside Phil.
Why am I toxic?
The cliff notes on Phil, for those of you who don't know the guy, he's a washed up Let's Player from a bygone era who doesn't know when to call it quits. He also really sucks at video games, which makes no sense.
Well, I failed because I couldn't do it. I couldn't do the aiming. The aiming is actually hard to do because the triggers are very loose. It's super hard to actually do it properly. Also, the thumbsticks are overly sensitive, so it's hard to aim.
Phil blamed his audience for his declining views, refused to improve his content, only to eventually give up making videos for good, and started streaming shortly after. And well, he's been begging people for money to get by on these streams for close to a decade now. Really doesn't know when to hang it up.
Please support the stream. Let's get some tips rolling in. Let's get our first tip of the night. Let's get our first memberships of the night. Let's get a super chat for the night in here. Let's get it up to 100 likes. Let's get some contributions, but in particular tips. Let's get the tips coming in. I just received a $13 tip. Let's keep going with a $14 tip. Now, who's going to be the $14 tipper to get the Jill hat? Let's find out. I have received the $14 tip.
But begging for money isn't all that Phil does on stream. You see, many years ago, Phil was a lolcow simply for being an unself-aware jackass. But in 2016, an event would transpire that would take the mockery and notorious reputation of this man-child gamer to a different stratosphere altogether. The date is May 1st, 2016. Darkside Phil goes live on YouTube. Now on screen, he starts up a pre-stream lobby with a standby message reading, "This stream will be starting shortly, please stand by." Unbeknownst to Phil at the time was the fact that this wasn't the only thing on screen viewers were seeing. Phil had forgotten to disable his camera, so he could actually be seen in the corner of the screen during his pre-stream lobby, but like he doesn't know you can see him. But I mean, big fucking deal, right? This happens to streamers all the time. What, maybe we catch the guy picking his nose on camera or something like that? You know, surely that's the worst it could get, right? The first few minutes of this pre-stream peep show were mostly benign. Just Phil seemingly browsing the web and clicking a few links. Nothing really out of the ordinary. But Phil suddenly lays back in his chair, and that's when this whole situation takes an unbelievably goonish turn. With the PlayStation 4 menu music underscoring the affair, Phil stares intently at his computer screen as his arm starts moving. It's theorized that he could have been stroking something here. With a primal aura manifesting in the gamer's gaze, Phil begins convulsing and gyrating with increasing focus and ferocity. With his entire body shaking, the goateed gamer throws his head back as if expelling an exorcist demon. In an instant, it's like he just returns to normal. It's at this moment that Phil decides to end his pre-stream lobby and start the show. Little did he know there were about 50 or so people who had just watched him jerk off in front of them. These traumatized viewers would take to the chat and inform him of the colossal fuck-up.
What is up, everyone? Hello, and welcome. Oh, the camera's on. The camera's been on the whole time, huh? I don't even know. Hello.
One thing that I've never been able to reconcile about this incident is not just the fact that he jerked off before doing a live stream show, like that's insane, but he did it during a pre-stream lobby. Like this man actually hit live with his feed being broadcasted to the internet, but he's just not on camera, and he's like, I'm cool with that. I'm still just gonna jerk off over here, and that's no big deal to me. Dude, if I'm jerking off, there's not gonna be a live feed within 1,000 yards in any direction of me, okay? I Phil, you're insane. You're a fucking psychopath. This is crazy. Now, Phil's a professional accountability avoider. And when some in the chat asked him about the bizarre pre-stream convulsions that looked a lot like masturbation, he denied he was doing so and pretended as if nothing happened. Though, the video speaks for itself. It was crystal clear what the guy was doing. From my understanding, this was the first time in internet history a streamer had accidentally broadcasted themselves shucking and jiving. So it goes without saying the clip went massively viral online. We were truly in uncharted territory here. The entire internet went crazy over the accidental stroke show, sharing Phil's climax everywhere they could, with almost everyone having a laugh at the man's expense. This controversy would not be something he could sweep under the rug, something even stubborn old Phil would come to terms with.
And all of a sudden my Twitter starts blowing up on my phone, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I look down and I look at the tweets, and people were sending me, hey Rich, DSP Gaming got caught jerking off on live stream. He didn't realize his camera was on before he started live streaming, and he decided to rub one out, and everyone saw. There was like 100 people in the stream, and they all watched him jerk off.
Knowing Phil, you'd assume he'd make a terrible response to the drama and gaslight people about what had happened. But in a rather uncharacteristically self-aware move from Phil, the day after the clip went viral, the guy fired up a live stream and confessed, coming clean all over everything.
Because of a mishap yesterday, I have seen tons of attention thrown my way. It happens. I think that I've handled it pretty well. In the past, I have been known as a person who unfortunately kind of takes things way too seriously. And when shit happens, instead of kind of rolling with it, I get pissed off. And you know what? That's not the way to handle stuff. I'm certainly not going to hold it against anyone for joking about something that happened that was completely hilarious in my opinion. I mean, I'll be honest, at first I was incredibly embarrassed, but after the initial shock of knowing what happened, I cannot stop laughing about it. I don't know about anyone else. A lot of people are like appalled. Oh my god! Come on. Yes, because we all know that, you know, It's such an unnatural thing. It's such a horrible, horrendous action. Everyone, you know, whoever has done it should be burned at the stake. Then again, everyone who's done it probably didn't inadvertently live stream it.
Thankfully for Phil, he wasn't banned for this live-streamed jerk session, but he'd never live it down, and the stream has become a source of ridicule for close to a decade now. Despite somewhat owning up to what he did, Phil became a laughingstock to the greater internet because of this clip. And man, the gaffe has had an unbelievably long shelf life as a meme. The video clip showing this chicken choking incident pops up every now and then and goes viral, and you still run into people who have never seen it before and are equally as shocked as the people who watched it unfold live back in 2016.
And Gamebox goes $5. Oh, the camera's on.
Who said that? Who said that?
Gamebox said that.
You masturbated on YouTube, live stream. They wanted to prosecute you, but they said your penis was so small they couldn't actually make it out. So they couldn't tell whether you were masturbating or playing with a fucking skin tag.
As it became clear that leaning into what had happened didn't stop people from making fun of him, Darkside Phil would adopt a policy of silence regarding this May 1st, 2016 disaster stream. Very rarely does he acknowledge it in public. About a year or so ago, he actually went on a podcast and did address it, and you can tell it's something of a sore spot still.
Here's the truth of the matter. First of all, it took place on YouTube, not on Twitch. All right? There was maybe 20, 30 people there when it happened because I just turned the stream on, right? And it was right, you know, laptop in front of me or whatever, camera's on. So embarrassing. But what's the narrative now? Darkside Phil masturbated in front of thousands of people, including small children, on the internet, live on Twitch, and didn't get banned for it.
Things can happen, dog. You know?
Thankfully, the camera was not panned down. That would have been very, very bad. Thank God it was, you know, the angle that it was at. You know,
all right.
How am I ever going to live that down? If anything, here's what I learned from it. That's going to always, no matter what these idiots say about me, that's always going to be my most embarrassing moment.
You know what? Hold on. I'm going to give you some advice. All right. I want to give you some advice right now. You need to own it, and you need to have a box of tissues behind you.
And a t-shirt.
As a fucking joke, dude. Troll him back.
Oh, Philip Burnell, go on the Lolcow podcast, you coward. Female streamer accidentally gets busy on Twitch. On August 24th, 2022, 21-year-old streamer Kimika would go live on Twitch to a few dozen followers. But this would be no ordinary just chatting stream. On first glance, nothing immediately inappropriate is detected on camera. But the woman does appear to be a bit preoccupied with someone in the room that's off screen. In fact, if you look closely at the reflection in the glass window, you can see what appears to be a man performing a spur-of-the-moment oil change on the streamer. The woman's face visually contorting as the mechanic goes to work under the hood. Needless to say, this sort of automotive work isn't allowed to be broadcasted on Twitch. In response to the discovery of this illicit auto body detailing, Twitch would ban both of Kimika's accounts. It was only 7 days. At the time, Twitch was already in a lot of controversy for seemingly giving preferential treatment to female streamers. You know, you'd have cases where chicks would accidentally show their tits on stream or flash their coochie and they wouldn't get banned. So to see somebody getting full-on dipsticked and only getting a 7-day temp ban, this was kind of outrageous. Independent gaming journalist Jake Lucky would be the first to report on the incident, posting the clip to Twitter on August 25th, 2022. In a later tweet, Jake would also reveal that he had gotten in touch with the streamer, and she apparently told him going live and getting railed was some kind of accident. She did it, she didn't mean to, guys. Are we sure about that? Jake said, quote, "She told me it was a drunken accident and ended the stream quickly. I think something this stupid warrants a permaban." Lucky elaborated further on the ban itself, quote, The streamer who had sex on stream verbally stated she only got a 7-day ban from Twitch. She did not show the email or screenshots of the ban. Highly doubt Twitch will keep it at 7 days now. After Jake's tweet went viral, many were outraged. Gideon, a well-known YouTuber who had been banned from Twitch indefinitely for simply raiding Pokemon's chat, expressed his annoyance, writing in a now deleted tweet, quote, "A girl gets fucked on stream, 7-day ban while I'm still here perma-banned, Twitch is racist," unquote. An annoying knock-on effect to this controversy was that given the nature of it, Kimika's social media accounts began exploding as an influx of gooners flocked to her pages, eagerly awaiting more scraps of NSFW content. Despite the cries for justice, Kimika would never receive a permanent ban from Twitch, and she was allowed back on the platform after her 7-day expired. The entire situation turning into a twisted win for the woman. The controversy resulted in her Twitch channel growing from 230 followers to around 5,600. She also picked up around 20,000 Instagram followers and 120,000 followers on TikTok. As of today, Kimika is still streaming on Twitch and posts to her TikTok and Instagram regularly. Her numbers have somewhat plateaued since the big drama, but needless to say, it made her career. And as you might expect, she has a pretty popular OnlyFans account too. I'm sure Shannon Sharp has probably seen all of the photos. Jordan Peterson not realizing he's live for several minutes.
Five minutes later.
You're gonna have holes in your mouth, you know. You are.
Uh-oh. I'm live streaming.
The Zoom bombing incident. During the COVID lockdown, people flocked to Zoom in droves to communicate. Calls with friends, work meetings, study sessions, doctor visits, court proceedings, you name it. While certainly a pragmatic solution at the time, the adoption didn't come without its quirks, especially early on. And there were troublemakers out there eager to exploit the communication method for their own entertainment. Which brings us to the Zoom raiders, or the process of Zoom bombing. Zoom bombing became a popular tactic for some of the internet's more mischievous. Essentially, you had trolls joining non-password protected Zoom calls, typically hosted by official organizations, and derailing the meetings by playing offensive audio or video content to the people in them. Government meetings were prime targets for this sort of trolling for obvious reasons. One of the most infamous Zoom bombs ever dropped was on a South African parliament meeting being held in Johannesburg. On March 7, 2020, the Parliament of South Africa held an online Zoom meeting and publicly posted the details to access the Zoom on their Twitter account. Big mistake. Details posted on Twitter included the actual password to access the video conference. And you might imagine where this is going. Before the meeting, one of the speakers actually cautioned the parliament from advertising the meeting in this way, warning the organizers of the ongoing threat of Zoom bombers who were running amok online at the time. Sadly, the warning fell on deaf ears. Shortly after the commencement of the Parliament Zoom meeting, a Zoom bomber joined the call and almost immediately began playing obscene pornographic videos along with racial slurs over the speaker.
Some says no to
After the offensive video starts playing, the speaker, who initially warned the parliament, is quoted saying, "This is exactly what I said about Zoom." Realizing they had been invaded by nefarious trolls, the meeting abruptly ended and a new one was set up without the password being shared publicly. They managed to get through that one without any kinks. Funeral attendee takes a shower on Livestream. Zoom has become a rather useful tool. Let's say you can't make it to an event or scheduled meeting, you can attend virtually. I mean, nowadays you have people attending weddings they can't make it to over these video calls. They also attend funerals too. It can be very convenient. It certainly seemed that way for one woman who was a friend of the recently deceased, a father of 3 who had died after a long and brutal battle with cancer. She was running late and not wanting to miss any of the proceedings, She actually joined the Zoom call that was taking place at the funeral itself so she could watch it while she got ready. She was going to attend in person, she just didn't want to miss anything. The only problem was she had left her camera on during the getting ready process, so on the massive projector inside the funeral service, everyone got a front row seat through her preparational grooming, including her showering and her shaving her coochie. Eventually, one of the woman's friends sends her a message informing her of what had happened. And believe it or not, she actually still went to the funeral in person after all of this, arriving in tears, ashamed of what she had done. Quote, some bird logged on and didn't realize her camera was on and was in the shower shaving her pubes, an attendee said. If an entire funeral saw me shaving my pubes and showering in the nude, I don't know if I'm going to show up no matter how much I love that person who died, okay? Man accidentally live streams his wife giving birth to hundreds of people. With everyone having a camera in their pocket these days, the recording of a childbirth by family members occurs more than you might imagine. And hey, if you went Stanley Kubrick on your wife's hoo-ha in the delivery room, hey, I'm not judging personally, but for me, I'd like to be in the moment. You know, a moral encouragement. Push, baby, push. I don't want to have to be worrying about the framing of the cucaracha on camera, if you feel me. But hey, if you insist on filming it, just be careful out there because you might end up like the guy who accidentally shared his wife's birthing process with everyone that he had ever met. On May 16th, Kali Konongada, a 26-year-old man from Carmichael, California, was about to experience one of the greatest moments life has to offer. His wife, Sarah Dome, she was giving birth to their first child, and he planned on filming it. Kali is of Polynesian descent. Specifically, his family is from the island of Tonga. It's within traditional norm of these people to have your entire family witness a woman giving birth. Now, unable to airlift his extended family into this delivery room, Kali opted to simply film the delivery and show his family the video later. Ah yeah, I can't wait to pop a squat on the couch with Onk and show him my wife spread open giving birth in 4K. Now the man here was something of a boomer when it came to technology, and as you might expect, was primarily a Facebook user. In fact, Kali often used Facebook's in-app camera to record videos instead of his phone's default app. What could possibly go wrong there? As his wife begins pushing and the birth of the child is imminent, Kali hits record, but something was off. Sometime after hitting record, the man, who was focused on the birth itself, takes a glance to his phone screen to make sure it's still capturing footage. And to his shock, he discovered a live viewer count in the top corner, which was rapidly increasing, rising moment to moment. Kali had accidentally broadcasted to Facebook Live. Quote, I didn't notice it was on the public feed until someone said, push, push, in the comments. It was my little cousin, Kali said. The childbirth stream spread virally, and thousands of people were in the chat room tuned in. Panicked, Kali initially considered shutting down the stream, but viewers were cheering his wife on, and the man reckoned, hell, I've already been live streaming it this long, why not see it through to the end? Quote, there's a lot of negative stuff on Facebook, and so I thought this would be positive. I figured as long as I kept it PG, it's something to be happy about. Doing his best to avoid any nudity, Kali supported his wife through the birthing process with the chat room filled with friends and strangers cheering them on. Sarah had no idea she had an audience, later stating, quote, I thought he was just filming regular and he put it on live and I didn't know until the end, so yeah, I was surprised. Thankfully for everyone, the delivery resulted in a healthy baby boy. The accidental stream showing this entire process was reportedly viewed over 200,000 times. While certainly a truly bizarre situation, all things considered, with the nudity being kept to a minimum and the outcome being wholesome, I'm okay with it, I guess. Some online weren't though. There was a bit of pushback, with some suggesting the whole thing was unfair to the wife, like it was some sort of invasion of her privacy. Obviously, some also were just appalled that something so visceral was live streamed to Facebook. Though it's important to note that Kali really didn't show much here. The stream has nothing inappropriate except for one moment when the man was distracted by the baby coming out and he accidentally shows a glimpse of his wife's breast for a second. Kali responded to his newfound detractors, quote, I know some people are mad that it's not private, but I'm from the island of Tonga. And many years ago, we would have water births in public. I wasn't worried about hiding anything because our culture has done this for thousands of years. I don't think it's fair to cast judgment upon people. I mean, birth is a wonderful thing, Kali said. Sarah also expressed her own unperturbed reaction. Quote, I know there's some people that say, oh, that's too much, but I think it's really not that bad. Everyone can have their opinion, but to me, it's beautiful. It's a blessing. It shows mothers it's not hard to have a baby. It's not so much pain. I mean, there is pain, but you can do it and don't be ashamed. I'm not ashamed, the woman said. When asked if she had watched the 45-minute video of her birthing, she claimed that she had not yet. I've been with the baby, but I went to the end to make sure he didn't show too much, and I thought, oh, this isn't too bad. Kali would later tell People magazine in an interview that he hoped one day his son will see the video of him being born and appreciate the story behind his life. Quote, that is what us Islanders do. We carry stories from elder to elder, so my story will be passed on to him. My pain will become a blessing to him. When a potential invasion of privacy actually turns into a pretty wholesome moment, that was the story of the man who accidentally live streamed his wife giving birth. And well, you made it to the end of the video. Let me know what you guys thought about it down below in the comment section and let me know who or what you want me to talk about next. I want to give a major shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys. Wavy Web Surf out. Peace.